Right? Music is everywhere. And if you think that was too out there, talk to my husband, because I got approval for that. I sometimes have to check myself, to see if you Google Barbra Streisand and other musical instruments, and on YouTube is this clip, and as she's singing, she wanders through these appliances that are part of the orchestra.
That's fun.
And so it's very tongue-in-cheek, very funny, and yet there's a message there. We're going. There's a message there, and the only question is, are we willing to hear it? Are we really listening? And are we paying attention to our reaction to that music? Like, I'm not going to tell you don't to cringe when you hear Jaws intro, because that would be foolish. If you're swimming and you hear that sound, get out. Let's see here. Yeah. I'm in a little trouble here. One moment, please. I almost just went over the order of service. Ernest Holmes, who's our founder and the author of the book that explains this teaching called The Science of Mind, he said in a book called Spiritual Awareness, there is music at the center of everything. The melody is real. We must uncover the song and permit it to saturate our souls with joy. The ancients said, the wind whispers, the leaves clap their hands, and the morning stars sing together. Spiritual living is not a droll affair. It is the triumphant entry of the soul into the secret place of the Most High. Ernest Holmes gave me permission to play the concerto. In the newsletter, I mentioned the planets. It's a 7-movement orchestral suite by Gustav Holst. I have to look at Ken. Ken's the one that introduced me to it. Huh?
One of my favorites.
Oh, good. It was written between 1914 and 1917, and each movement is about one of these 7 planets. I think Pluto was still in there. Yeah, I know. We're still cheering for Pluto to. Well, let's just have a moment for Pluto. And it's through the unique nature of all of the instruments of the orchestra that, without words, evokes this feeling that represents the planet. It's really intended to be an astrological representation of the planets, but that permeates, our culture. Mars, when you hear it, is very threatening, it's big, it's a little scary, maybe fearful, something to be fearful of. Which is in complete contrast to the one about Jupiter, which is almost like skipping, like Jupiter's just going along, woo! I'm glad to be Jupiter and not Mars. But again, it's used to evoke a feeling. And everyone in that concert hall had a feeling. Every single one of us. It may not be the same, and I probably guarantee there were no exactly the same reactions, and yet we all had them. Because we're all in it. We're all experiencing it together. And you can take that analogy out much wider and say that's exactly what's happening here and everywhere right now. We're all experiencing this thing we call life, having a different reaction to it, right? Each one of us has a different specific thing that is going on in our lives that's triggering that reaction, but we're all doing it because we're all interconnected. We're all one. We all come from that same stuff, which is God, Spirit, Allah, Yahweh, whatever name. But what I think is funny about Mars in particular is that, as I said, it was this overbearing kind of fear-mongering sound, very deep. And we think about what was in the consciousness then, Mars was represented as something to be scared of. That's where those aliens came from, the Martians that invaded Earth and wanted to suck things out of our brains. I don't know why they want to do that, but they probably found out and stopped. But that evolved into the 20th century, later in the 20th century, when kids watched Marvin the Martian. Remember with the little broom thing on his head? Right? So it shifted to be a much more light idea of what Mars is about. And now today, we're talking about sending someone there. And afterwards, we're going to have a drawing where you get to put the name. No, we're not. And so we shift as a culture because we shift individually. We often say that one of us, it's easy to feel like we can't change the world, right? But we can change ourselves. And when we change ourselves, it gives permission to someone else to make a shift, or we simply join them. That reverberation goes out into the consciousness. That's how we change the world, one mind at a time. So life and music, we talked about these individual situations happening for all of us, are always seeking a resolve, a resolution. The happiest time you've ever had. Well, it's probably happening again right now, but right, that transitioned to something else. And the saddest, most grief-stricken moment you've experienced shifted. Your perception of it shifted. Your experience with it shifted. And grief is probably a great one to talk about shifting, right? It ebbs, it flows, it shows up, it goes away. But it's always seeking that resolve. It's seeking to move through us. And I know personally, where we run into trouble is when we try to cling on to it. Right? Even if we don't like it, we understand it and we know it, and so we glob onto it, and it's not able to move through us. It starts showing up in our body, in our mind, in our life, over and over. So I'm sure you've heard, either in an orchestral piece or a singer will be coming near the end, perhaps of a song or the end of a phrase, and they hit a note that just doesn't rest with you. It kind of sounds like it might be the last note, and you're feeling this discomfort, dissonance, right? It's seeking the resolution. We're all hoping that they're gonna ease into the other note.
The last note.
Uh-huh.
Resolved. I almost didn't.
Very good. Yeah. Yeah. We're looking for that resolve. And so it can often be used that holding back the resolution can be, build us up a bit, and then you hear it and it's like, oh, we all settle in. will settle in. Same with life. You know, you hear that saying, if everything's not okay, it's not the end kind of phrase. It's all about allowing whatever that is creating that dissonance, that discomfort, to move through us. It's a life work. I mean, maybe some of you have just learned it, and boy, that would be so cool, but I haven't yet. You know, a lot of things, sure, but there's always something more. As we resolve, then that other thing that is seeking resolution comes up. So life is very much like what we hear taking place in music and what we're seeking. Music, we're seeking that resolve. In our lives, we're seeking that resolve, that ease. You know, maybe sometimes it's timing, right? The timing's just not right for whatever that thing is that you say you desire, right? And things begin to shift behind the scenes, and suddenly the path is clear. We could sometimes go, why didn't I just do that in the first place? Well, it just wasn't ready. It was in dissonance, perhaps. There's a quote by Scott Aubrey. Anytime we go to a symphony or any kind of musical event, we are stirred. It is because we are participating in the very same consciousness that the composer was in when she wrote the music. If you gather a few tuning forks and strike one, in time, they're all going to begin to vibrate. They're seeking that resolve. It's dissonance with just one. And that's really what Jesus did. He was so at one at the divine spirit. Jesus even said, as I'm sure you have heard through the years, that it's not me that does it. He called it the Father, right? We'd call it the Spirit. Same concept. It moves through me. But when he was there with that oneness and hit that vibration of a spiritual knowingness, then people who came into contact with him met that vibration. That can be a powerful thing. It's easy when we're vibing and someone else walks in the room that isn't vibing to meet their vibe. Right? And so our ask as conscious people is to try to hold that vibe and make it available for them. Maybe it'll happen right there. Maybe it'll happen day after day after day. But it's that invitation. We still meet them where they're at, because we've been there too, in one way or another. But invite them to rise up. So I think I've said it without saying it, that music is really about consciousness. It's really about stirring the consciousness, aligning us, presenting us the challenge to hit that vibe again, to remember that vibe, to remember who we are, to remember how we showed up long ago. Provide that contrast and move back into the vibe of who we are today. Music is used in worship and ritual. Right? We often play music during meditation as that invitation to allow the mind to focus on something else than that person that pulled out in front of you, than your mother when you were 6, or whatever it is that's going on when you walk through the door. We find it healing and restorative. Right? It lowers our stress. It calms physical rhythms and restores balance to the mind and body. I often say I have to be careful with what I'm putting in my ears because I respond to it. And sometimes I notice it while I'm driving. I have the music on kind of loud, and all of a sudden I realize it's noise right now. It is just noise. Turn it down and there's that, right? Music is a powerful tool to use to align us with that which is true. So melodies are woven throughout life. In 1983, there was a Broadway musical, La Cage aux Folles. Maybe you've heard of it. And there's a song that's been, no, I'm not going to sing it. Although I do like a good gay anthem when, I speak. I am what I am. And there's a powerful phrase, especially powerful to me, I hope it is for you. I bang my own drum, some think it's noise, I think it's pretty. That's our call, folks, to bang our own drum, to be that individualized expression that you were brought into this existence to be. Right? We can look at someone and say, oh, I wish I were more like Shelley. We've got a Shelley. We're covered. I have to be a Ron. It's easier as an adult. Not so easy when we're growing up, junior high, high school, because we want to fit in, we want to be liked, we want to be acceptable, and we've heard messages about just be normal, just be like everyone else. What's wrong with you? That's what I heard a lot. Still do. But unless we have your individualized expression, there's something missing in this experience. There just is. There isn't anyone else that can be you. There isn't anyone else that can take your place. And with that, I think, comes a bit of a challenge, an opportunity. I really need to be aware of that. Where am I trying to fit in? Where am I trying to dim my light? Where am I trying not to call attention? But if it's something that calls us forward, something that speaks to us, it's probably ours to do. And that could be very uncomfortable. Dissonance. Seek the resolution by stepping into it. Not as scared. Didn't fall. I'm okay. One more quick story before I wrap up. Gabby Giffords, you know the name, right? She was she in the House, she was a representative, I think, in Arizona, in Tucson. And she was shot many years ago at a campaign event or something like that, and was very visible in her recovery. And it was 2011. And so, her doctors came together and were trying anything, right, to help start making those synapses to synapse, those areas of the brain that have to do with communication.
Activation.
Ooh, thank you.
Because that's where she was shot, right? In
Mm-hmm. And so, along with the traditional treatments of speech and physical therapy, she started practicing the French horn again. That was something she'd done in her younger years. And she was called to pick that up again. And it was through music that helped her reclaim her ability to speak. Her brain recognized it. It found its resolve. Scientists say that we are so attuned to music because early mammals were nocturnal. So you couldn't always see what was going on. So we had to use our other senses, listening, hearing. That's where melody, that's where music can exist, can get to us. It's an extraordinary feature of the human species. It unites us, it conveys feeling, it allows us to feel a part of. Going to the planets, we were with a group of perfect strangers. I don't know, 300? I don't know how many people were in the Holt. But we all shared an experience. Because we are all unified, we're all one, even though we feel alone sometimes, we're not. We're not. We're loved, we're guided, we're unique, and we're intended to be. Thank you.